disqualified with Mercedes when he was doing the Nuremberg. Same thing you're saying, and it wasn't even Formula One. You're saying the same thing, that is messing up Formula One. What's your take on his comment on that?
He's not really far off, because if you're a keen Formula E fan, you'd notice that this season, this new era of Formula One is actually borrowed from Formula E.
Okay.
So what they're calling boost mode in Formula One is what we call attack mode in Formula E. Both of them are all about, Formula E is all about battery management.
Correct.
So you have to recharge. So during the attack mode is when you recharge your battery.
Yes.
And that's exactly what Formula One is doing. So I think one of the reasons he's also really concerned about it is he knows that the teams that have been very good in Formula E, which in this case, Mercedes and McLaren, they've participated in Formula E. Mercedes was there for 4 good years. 4 good years, yeah? They left Formula E in 2022.
Yes.
And when they left Formula E in 2022, they went with the engineers. So they harvested data. This is 4 years of data. You know you have race engineers who know about battery management, how to go heavy on deployment. And then now you can train your team. So Bottas was back there. Kimi was being trained by Bottas.
Yes, by Bottas.
So this is why you even think Kimi is already thriving he's already won his first pole. He's already gotten his first race win, his maiden win. So Mercedes is bound to really thrive in this season. And McLaren too, as much as it's the first race, look out for McLaren, because McLaren also left Formula E in 2024.
Right.
Remember, this is during the period where they were working on the engines.
Okay.
So there's a very high chance. Look out for, in fact, I'm looking out for Oscar Piastri, not even Lando. I'm looking out for Piastri.
Not even a single race.
No, but now at least today he's raced his practice. At least he's done FP1. But it's something that we need to look for. And another very keen competitor is Ferrari.
Yes.
The reason why Ferrari will also thrive is because of endurance. So endurance also borrows lift from Formula E. So they're all tied to some sort of electric performance. So all these 3 teams are teams to look out for. And for Red Bull, they still haven't shown us. I don't know if it's Ford failing on their end, but they still haven't shown us. So they still haven't shown us their capabilities.
Right.
So I understand he's saying that from a worried worried point of view.
Because Haji is doing brilliantly.
Yeah.
And it's the same car.
It's the same car.
And or if you're going to put quotes politics, it's the same car. Like you said, Ferrari are getting it right.
Even Racing Bulls technically are not doing badly.
They're not doing bad. In fact, Haas also, you need to look out for Haas. They might get a podium this season. Haja, I don't know. I see him getting a season.
If Haja gets a podium ahead of Max Verstappen, Max Verstappen Meltdown Pro. But now, since you're very well versed about Formula E, Aston Martin have struggled the most.
Yes.
With the new rules and regulations for the F1.
Yes.
What do you think they need to do to improve? Because I mean, even from practice 1, I'm not seeing any improvement to that particular team.
I think they haven't really invested in their race engineers, which is very important. There's too much, of course, internal politics, but they should also be keen on, because engineers are very important. Maybe at the end of the day, and the engineers need to work with the drivers. And even why, going back to Ferrari, why I'm saying Ferrari has a lot of potential. Remember, Lewis has been in Mercedes during the manufacturing of the engine. And when he's moved to Ferrari last year, he was keen on building his engine.
Yes.
So he knows, I think he has a very strong feeling that he might be getting his ace this year.
He's actually talked about it.
Yes.
So that he's easily enjoying driving these cars.
Yes, because he's built it with his engineers, so he understands it. And by the time he was leaving Mercedes, because I know this really caught Toto off guard. Toto didn't know that Lewis was going to leave. So he had all this knowledge. And even I'm sure Toto is also wondering, how much knowledge does this guy have, or rather has he leaked to the other team? But there's so much potential for those 3 teams.
Wow. For Aston Martin, we say, hey, but
maybe now we're looking at maybe Alpine.
Josiah's team. Alpine represented by Josiah.
Yes. But Aston has a long way to go. Cadillac, they're fairly new. Same case with Audi.
Yeah.
But the good thing is also with Cadillac, they invested in the drivers.
Yeah.
They've invested in the engineers. They've invested in the team principal. So they might not thrive this season.
Right.
But maybe in the second round,
Yeah.
we might see improvements because they have everything in check. I mean, if you have Bottas and Perez in your team, especially Bottas, you know, Bottas can be a reserve driver, but he's really good with engineering. He's
that is
really good.
nice. So he
Like
adds-
even that's why Toto kept him for very long. You know, people used to
yeah,
wonder
yeah,
why
He's still
Toto
there.
is still keeping Bottas. It's because of his knowledge. He really gives some really good insights that really helps the team to thrive. Yes.
There's something about Mercedes car, and people have been talking about it in terms of, are they winning these things legally? Because there's been an issue with the
tweaking of the
compression.
engines.
The compression issue, and people are like, when FIA come mid-season and reviewing it, they'll be like, you guys were against the regulation, so they'll strip them off. And people have been having that conversation. What do you think about their engine? Are they being somehow cheeky with the regulation?
I don't think they are. Same case I said earlier. They cracked. They know the system. Like they knew what was required of this new era. Yeah, so this new ice and electric era.
Right.
So they cracked it. So the 16:1 ratio has been cracked on their end. So they're not. I don't think they're floating any rules. Maybe just the front wing that was sus a little bit.
Yeah.
But what I'm excited about is Ferrari is also coming back with their Macarena. You've seen the Macarena wing. So hopefully we'll see it for the first time this race. Or maybe even the qualies. Hopefully we'll see them actually utilizing it. Yeah, so and it's been approved by FIA, so they can both use their wings, Mercedes. And I mean, you can't fault a team for figuring out ways on how they can thrive better.
Because his
Yes,
issue was
aerodynamics.
that loophole from the compression of 16:1 to 18:1, which was reduced from 18:1 to 16:1.
16:1,
But
yes.
yet, McLaren and Mercedes are finding a way to tweak around it.
Yes,
And
to
also
work around
Ferrari at the
Hot
same
and
time.
cold.
Yeah, when the engine is hot and when the engine is cold.
Yes, and you know it's hard for FIA to basically test the engine when it's hot.
Yeah.
So they have to wait for it to cool down and be able to test.
So this is going to be an ongoing conversation.
It is. So as per the governing agency, they're giving it time, I think till the end of first round. And then that's when they'll see if they switch the rules entirely. But I think by the time we end this first round, the teams would have warmed. They would have warmed up into these new regulations. They will have found ways to improve because we're just starting. We're just starting the era, so we're bound to get a lot of the DNSs, like now like McLarens,
But you'll get good. You'll get
like the Maxes. Like that's bound to happen because we're just starting. Yes.
We're just starting right here, and I'm telling you, we're just starting the show in terms of motorsport. You can hear Shitawa is giving us some knowledge base.
Yes.
Whereby Hesbon anasema
enjoying
compression ya vits so the same as ya Formula 1.
vits yako jo.
Vits yangu compression yangu hata so mob
Ya
sana.
pink.
I think ni 2-1.
Ya pink, eh?
Kanyanga 1-2 mimi nishafika home. Shitawa Bah in studio, multi-award winning regional marketing lead and motorsport analyst and enthusiast. Now, after this, we're going to have a 5-week break.
I know.
And that has really affected not only fans, but also, the racers, the engineers, the teams.
Yes.
Should the FIA have decided, or should they have said, to replace Bahrain and Saudi Arabia? Or how does it go from your perspective?
So one of the biggest let me say sponsors of Formula 1
Correct.
are Bahrain,
Yes.
and Abu Dhabi, Qatar, and Saudi. So those are one of the biggest funders.
Yes.
So missing out on those two races costs the entire Liberty now, the guys who own it costs them a lot of money.
$100 million
now
to be specific.
After Suzuka, we are moving to Miami. Yeah. So I've had rumors. So there's a very high possibility where hopefully if the ongoing war ends soon,
according to some tweets
it might
from
be
some guy.
slotted into the second round.
Okay.
So probably the race won't end in December as it usually
does.
does.
Yes.
It might roll over till February.
Oh, January
year.
into
So
February.
Yeah, so it will be till 2027 February. Yeah, so that they can slot in Bahrain and Saudi.
But do you think it's a
Yes.
blessing in disguise for some of the teams that are still
It
working
is,
towards
it
the
is.
electronic components of their cars?
It is, and it also benefits the teams that have actually cracked it.
Okay.
Because they're already thriving. But then for the teams that haven't cracked it, they're being given time to now you see they have, after Suzuka, they'll have close to 5 weeks.
Yeah, 5 weeks.
To now work on the engine improve, because with Suzuka, Suzuka is we call it the true racer circuit. Like if you're not a good
because of the
driver,
corners,
yes, so it has what we call the spoon curve, which is one of the we call it the most challenging curves in all the circuits in F1. And then it also, now the straight modes at the moment, the straight modes, which were what we used to call DRS.
DRS.
So the straight modes in it has this figure 8 curve.
Yes.
Yeah. So the straight modes are 2. And then with this straight mode, once you end that straight mode, you have a serious spoon curve. And then now you come back again to, so it's usually quite challenging for most drivers. So it's going to be a very exciting, but also a very good moment for most engineers to assess and know what they need to fix and even what they need to improve on. And even the drivers will now have more let me say more of experience with the vehicles, because they're doing this specific circuit is around 300 kilometers,
Right.
which is like from Nairobi to Eldoret, yeah?
300 kilometers.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's
give or
Nairobi
take.
to Eldoret. And 53 laps. So you have a lot of time. You have a lot of time to understand.
A lot of time to understand. And I like
The
fact
vehicle,
that to understand the vehicle, but at that spoon area, that's the same reason why Lewis Hamilton last weekend had an issue, because he was saying, I wasn't getting enough time to charge this battery.
Hey, but
My
that's
battery is getting depleted, and I need the battery to overtake, because that's where the charge is coming through.
Yes.
Now with this longer spoon period whereby you can really accelerate. This morning we saw accelerations to even about 326 kilometers per hour.
Yes.
The overtaking, and if you haven't reserved your battery quite well, how will that work out for some of these teams?
That's where Leclerc thrives though.
Right.
Yeah, because we saw even the practice one, he did a double overtake. So I think with this we'll be able to see that competition again between Lewis and Leclerc.
Yeah, because that battery
Yes.
management
Yeah.
has been an issue.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, and I'm happy they've been allowed to race against each other. It makes the sport more exciting.
I mean,
the
they even
Chinese,
mentioned it.
the Chinese GP was amazing.
It was.
It was amazing.
But that battery management.
No, but you see, now this is where we know because this is not even about who's the good driver.
Yes.
It's about how strategic are you as a driver. So, and that's why I'm saying Lewis, I think, will kill this because he's very strategic. He has experience. He has the skill. So this is something that I'm quite excited to watch, especially Suzuka. This is going to be quite exciting.
It's one of the fastest cars.
Sunday.
Yeah. You can't wait till Sunday. Yeah? Don't worry.
But even the quali tomorrow, there have been some changes. So they've reduced from 9 megajoules to 8 megajoules when it comes to now recharging your battery. So that can also favor some teams, but then I am not so sure. So let me watch it tomorrow, and then we see how it will work out. But I personally think it will favor the teams that have already cracked the battery management, and then it won't favor the teams that haven't, because now they are struggling again. Now that you're almost getting there, then you
have to go back.
Yes, you have to go back again.
Yeah, because for the Mercedes, Kimi Antonelli, Russell, they did not complain whatsoever about the battery. For them, it was the braking system.
That's also another thing.
And that's something I want us to cover once we come back. Remember, if you're just tuning in, we are live on Facebook and all our socials at SportyFM KE. You'll get snippets of our conversation in studio. We have the lovely Shitawa Bah, who's a multi-world award-winning regional marketing lead and also a motorsport analyst, enthusiast, and clearly she can reserve her battery better than Hesbon's phone. When we come back, more sports.
Wow.
The clock.
And Nicolette, aka the Queen of Banter.
You know, there was a study that was done in the US that apparently in the US, kids in school can't read their analog clocks. So they don't know what clockwise and anti-clockwise is anymore.
But Joe, don't offend Hezbon tafadhali.
No,
I highly doubt Hezbon can read an analog clock as well.
I can.
Wow.
Why was he asking you about anti-clockwise and clockwise if he can?
No, it's just because
From which side? From which side? When he left him. When he left him.
I just
12 to 1 in which side?
But yeah,
12 pale juu ni 12. Alafu after 12 ni either 11 ama 1. Ni gani?
I think ni direction. Unizi kumpea direction ndo ameshanga.
Kwa clock pale juu. Haya acha nikuongeleshe pole. Kwa clock pale juu tunaanzaga na 12. Si ndio? Alafu tunaenda 1 on your right. Si ndio? On your left utaenda
11.
Bas. Watch yako inaendaga to your left ama to your right?
To my right.
Brilliant. And also in studio, we're joined by Shitawa Bah, who's a multi-award winning regional marketing lead and a motorsport enthusiast and analyst, and just right now advising Hezbon on which side of the clock goes, depending. Yani mrighty ama ni mlefty. Sawa.
Asante sana for the lessons. Nikulipe fee?
Nah.
to my invoice.
Nah. Send it forward to everyone else who should read an analog clock in the US.
Ndo wapelekea. Naenda huko for the World Cup.
Umeweka deposit?
Yeah, pesa kidogo.
Tuko kwa hiyo list ya deposit jana.
But yeah, we are talking about the Formula 1. In exactly 27 minutes we'll have practice session 2 starting in Suzuka, and already we know how P1 went in terms of that, the results coming in. George Russell, Kimi Antonelli. George Russell 1 minute 31 seconds 66.6. That is the time to beat in practice session 2. And I don't know about you, Hezbon, but do you think this race will be won maybe with a 1 minute 30 seconds or even maybe 1:29?
I think 1 minute 31 seconds is the time to beat, because we've seen it even during the free practice one, and we've seen how the drivers are challenging. But there's something I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask her is, how did you find yourself in Formula 1? Unajua, us, particularly me, when I was growing up, I was like, Formula 1 ni ya mabombe, as we call it, the rich. And we didn't associate ourselves with it because we didn't understand how drivers are making laps and laps and laps and laps. Like, there's no end to the race, according to me then.
Okay. I think my dad. So my dad was a serious automotive lover. Let me say that. He really used to love Nissan, by the way. So I remember in close to year 4, year 5 there.
Yes.
He got a Nissan Patrol.
Wow.
Which the GRX.
Yes.
That was around 1999. Msianze kucalculate miaka.
No, me hata na calculate. Me because hiyo gari. Me I'm even interested with the car itself.
So, and it was such an amazing unit.
Yes.
So I got obsessed over it. And I took over from him in terms of the love, even because I have 2 brothers. So even both of my brothers really love automotive. So interesting thing about this, I always told him I would really want to work in Nissan.
Right.
Yes, and interesting, I worked for Nissan from 2020 till 2024. When now we exited the market now in Africa before I moved to my current role.
Yes.
But then to answer your question on how I ended up in Formula 1 as a profession. So we had something called the Cape Town IPRI, the first one ever in Africa, which falls under Formula E. So Nissan was the main sponsors, and as I was part of the team, I was involved in terms of organizing and everything. And my bosses knew how much I loved Formula 1 and Formula E, and how I was really switched on, especially Formula E, because very few people know much about. So there's a meeting we had. I walked everyone through. This is what happens. This is where this is what attack mode is. These are the drivers. Like I just explained everything, and I think they were quite impressed. So there was one person who was also sitting in that meeting, who also shared my name to now how I ended up now in my current profession.
In your current position.
Yes, because he was quite intrigued by the entire banter and how I knew the sport as a whole.
Does it bother you when they say, all these things about Nissan and their resale value sometimes and their troublesome transmission, the CVT? Does it bother you because either they don't understand the ins and outs of Nissan? It's a brilliant car.
So this gearbox issue, I think, started with the Navara, yeah.
Yes.
So So that was back then. I think that was 2018. It's interesting. I'm talking about Nissan, but anyway. So shout out to Nissan Kenya guys and Nissan Africa guys. So, but the Navara. When DT Dobby, that's when Nissan was at DT Dobby. So when Navara was coming into the market, it's an amazing unit.
It is.
So people couldn't afford, of course, showroom units versus grey imports, or rather we call them, or I don't want to use the word mtumba, but used units, yeah. So people will prefer to buy the used ones to save costs. So people brought in the Navara mostly from the UK. Right. And then remember, so there's something we call what is it called? A regionalization of a unit. So you're bringing in this car. It's coming from place that's
tropical.
Yes, so a place that snows, and then you bring it to fully operate in our savannah. Like our weather is always the same all through the year.
Yes.
And so you don't look into the thermostat and all those things. So of course when you bring it in here to our region, people had issues with it. And also there are so many quacks in the market. So of course you'd find the quacks don't know how to fix your unit. So they tamper with the unit. So Navara got a very bad name at that time. Yes. And this is where now the Nissan brand name was sort of degraded.
Yes.
Now everyone will start saying, oh, but you see the Nissan is quite specific. I'd say Nissan is like it's a Japanese. Why I'm saying that, it's because you have to really understand it. It's like the way your Audi, you really have to understand
your Audi or your
and
Volkswagen.
Your mech has to be very good.
Yeah.
So Nissan is the same way. Like, don't buy any fake units. Some models, which of course I can't mention, you can easily buy aftermarket brake pads, and they will work. But now that's not the case.
I know.
So that's not the same case for Nissan. So, and that's when there's been. But in 2021 we relaunched the Navara. So the campaign was built for Africa, made for Africa. So we set up a plant in South Africa, Roslyn, where the vehicles were being built in Africa.
Now for Africa.
And made for the African market.
So that whole idea of it was tropicalized for the African. Yes, it was
tropicalized for the African market and built in Africa.
So that rumor started with one person just saying Nissan resale value boom.
It wasn't just one person. Of course, now if you go to mechanics, these are quacks.
Yes.
So if you do that, of course you'll face problems with the vehicle. It's the same way people sometimes say, oh, Audis are bad units, but the problem is you don't have that expertise. Like we don't have very many mechanics who understand Audis.
Oh, are you trying to say the same thing about Aston Martin now?
They're having engineers who are not.
Because this past week,
me.
I'm just saying because clearly we're seeing one team in Formula One that is arguably struggling not only the engine side, the transmission side, and the battery side.
The expertise, I think the expertise is lacking. Yes,
it's lacking.
On their end.
Yeah, because this weekend, and not even this weekend, today morning.
And I think also politics. There's a lot of internal politics in that team. So sometimes you might find the team principal is saying this, the engineer says this.
And already there's been a shake-up.
Yes. So all that really affects the team dynamics and the performance. Yes.
Right.
Now, before we went on a break, we were talking about the brake units.
Yes.
And there's something we noticed in practice one. the Red Bull cars particularly, they kept pulling on one side.
Oh, so is that okay? I think that really falls like, just wait, I'm looking for that word, the ERS. Yeah, so for under the ERS, the energy recovery system, so that's where you harvest. You have like during the break period, that's when some of the vehicles are harvesting their energy. So I think Red Bull needs a new tire strategist. I've been saying that. Remember even Chinese GP, the way Haja roll, because he was trying to brake and then the car spinned. Same case with Max.
Kimi Antonelli in the last 2 laps.
He had a DNF. Same case, because I think there's something wrong with the tires. They haven't cracked their tire system.
Right.
And not just tire, also I think engine, but mostly it's on the tire system. So hopefully for this new race, because I've seen his P7.
Yes.
In FP1 he was P7, right?
Yeah, P7.
Yeah,
Max
so
Verstappen.
so I think there's probably going to be some improvements.
Right.
But the ERS bit, I think they haven't figured it out. So that's more on the tire end.
That's more on the tire end.
Yes.
Because we were wondering, at the same time, Kimi Antonelli in 2 laps towards winning last weekend. Locked up kid again.
Yes.
We have talked about Max Verstappen. The only people who haven't seen them locking up that much, surprisingly so, is Ferrari.
Yeah. Since you dare to strategy banner.
So for Ferrari, I'd say the same thing I was telling you about endurance.
Yes.
So they've managed to crack the energy harvesting, the balance. It's called the balance energy harvesting. So since they've cracked that, they're not able to face issues with their braking system, and this is something that's also used in endurance. So, and the same engineers for endurance are the ones who are currently working on this era's engine, the ICE and the electric one.
Right.
Before the season started, we saw a very heated debate between the two in terms of who's going to be the number one driver for the Ferraris. Do you think we're going to see that towards the end of the season, where we're going to see a preference in terms of Hamilton is going to be our number one driver, or Leclerc is going to be number one driver at Ferrari?
Whatever fight you have.
We're classy.
No, tuko na mgeni kwa nyumba leo. Asione vitete tutaendelea.
Ati mambo ya nyumba.
Mambo ya nyumba kwa nyumba.
Yako around.
So
are we going to see that type of battle between the two? Because we've already seen it even in Shanghai, where the two are really battling it out. Are we going to see a stand in terms of the team now picking who's the number one driver and who's the number two driver?
I think this time Lewis wants to claim his winnership back. So I think they'll still race, and the good thing is their team principal has allowed them.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is a good thing. So we'll see that battle. Leclerc also wants to look like his when I say Leclerc, I remembered his song. Anyway. So he also wants to both of them want to take lead. So we'll definitely see more of that.
We'll definitely see more of that. If you're just tuning in and you're wondering which voice this is, and it's not Hesbon's, it is Shitawa Bah in studio. Relax. I know one day you'll get a better voice. Chill, Hesbon, chill.
Have a better voice.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is right now.
Yeah. That's where you have a Grammy. Multi-award winning. Do you have are you multi-award winning? Multi-award winning regional marketing lead and motorsport analyst. This is where 10 nils are coming in. But also in studio we have Hilda Chepto, who is joining us right now. Later on she'll be on the breakpoint, and she has a question.
She's a Max Verstappen fan, by the way.
She's a Max Verstappen fan.
I think mine is a bit different. It's not about the racing, but I'm very curious because this conversation, F1 coming to Africa.
Yes.
I'm just very curious, just from your perspective, from your marketing background especially, how feasible is it for us as a continent to bring back F1? That can be either in Rwanda, that can be either in South Africa. How big of a deal, or what do we need to do to make it happen?
Or in Machakos. Again, you have to be patriotic.
Or in Machakos, by the way. But I think you did you watch the interview where Lewis was mentioning how he loves Africa and he was looking at having it in Kenya. At the moment, Kenya is not feasible. Of course, due to, we can't mention all those, but due to political issues and all that. So I remember FIA had nominated Chalami in South Africa. So Chalami had been participating in F1 in the late 80s.
Right.
It's one of the circuits that was built by FIA back then, or rather, let's say F1. It had a different management, but it had since degraded. So they wanted it to be revamped and all that, but something happened between their discussions with the South African government, so it was ruled out. But from what I've heard, or rather the rumors that I've heard, mostly they're facing too many governmental issues when it comes to trying to partner with the Africa government.
Yes.
So the other option is where our guy comes from, Haja. That's
north.
Libya.
Libya.
Yes. So, but Libya will also not be that feasible because remember, you'll need many people traveling from different regions. So Rwanda would have been ideal.
It's central. It's katikati
Rwanda would
ya
have been
Africa.
ideal, but then the logistics, because it's a very small country,
Right.
so the logistics of hosting, because you know when, I don't know if any of you guys have attended any of the F1 races. Yeah, the numbers
On
are
TV,
usually
definitely.
yes, no, but now on ground,
On
the
ground,
numbers
Bobby.
are usually crazy. So there are people who are taking trains across. Different, like now you're coming from Kenya, or the,
No, because I usually tell him Rwanda only has one hotel. That's why I'm looking at him like that.
I'm looking at her back. I'm thinking they're going to build 3 or 4 more hotels.
yeah, but it's a small country, so the logistics, unless now we partner like the East African region.
Yes.
So Uganda comes to Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. We all come together and
Right.
support Rwanda, and to ensure that now when Rwanda is hosting the F1,
Yes.
the guys can come back to Kenya
Yes.
at an affordable cost. Also, the flights have to be friendly, or if we can even have a train that moves from Rwanda to so that people can be able to travel for the races and even go back or stay, because you have day 1, day 2. Some people even do 3 days, so from Friday all the way till Sunday. So so there's a lot around. There's a lot of logistics around it.
So the closest is South Africa.
Yeah,
The most realistic.
The most realistic was going to be South Africa. That's why I even told, like, for Formula E,
Yes.
we had one in Cape Town. It
All
was
right.
such a huge success. It was a street circuit, but it was very good and it was well. And remember, SA has load shedding, yeah, and this is an electric race. And imagine it was a success.
Do you think
Yes.
they can bring maybe a Formula 3 or Formula 2 as a benchmark start
That
Before they-
might be
yeah.
a good idea.
before they bring out
Yeah,
Formula
to try
1?
test it out.
Yes,
Yeah, I
yes,
think
yes.
once they've locked down on a specific country,
Yes.
it's really, because they're really keen on Africa.
But why? Let me ask you one question. Aside from Libya, why haven't people looked at the north? Because the north tends to be, I don't know, they've figured out some things when it comes to hosting sports events.
Egypt,
So like Morocco.
It's a lot of, let's say, a lot of politics for those Northern Africa compared to the SSA markets. Yeah. And of course, West Africa, it's tricky, that side. Yeah.
But there's also the issue of, we have seen very young drivers this season excel, like Oli Barman.
Oli is doing a good
Very,
job.
very good job. Kimi was a rookie last year. Now
Yeah.
he's on the podium. His
Everyone
first
is a
podium
rookie this year.
because of the regulations. But
Yeah,
Kimi
but
is
everyone is a
Everyone is a
rookie.
rookie.
Everyone is starting.
What do you make of these young talents coming into F1 right now?
I think they're doing a very good job. From Kimi is very good, but for Kimi has had very intense training compared to all the other rookie drivers. So plus he has a very good car, a very supportive team principal. So this was bound to happen with all the support he was getting, and even the vehicle he was driving maybe was being engineered for someone else. So I wouldn't say. I'm not saying he got it by luck, but also because he's good. He's very good as a driver. And one of the things also that supports him as a driver, remember the weight, weight is also very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah, and he's one of the leanest drivers.
Okay.
So the current vehicle is shorter, lighter, and let me say leaner. So it also needs a leaner person. So even if you add 2 kgs or 3 kgs, it
It makes a
affects
difference.
it
Yeah.
affects the performance.
Okay.
So, and he's quite up to, like, let me say, the ideal vehicle driver. Yes.
Ideal.
So
Yeah,
you're
like
foreseeing
he's on
a
the
championship
ideal-
win from him soon.
It
And is
can. It might be possible. Mercedes, yeah, it's very possible.
Nicolette
I'm not
talks
so
about-
sure about this year. I'm not so sure about 2027.
Not this year, but it's coming.
Yeah,
Nicolette talks about him moving to Ferrari.
Because of the Italian thing. He has that very...
Are you seeing
He's
that?
very proudful about being an Italian and Italian pride and all that.
But we're also really proud of being Kenyans.
Yeah, so you don't think he would go to... You don't think at some point he would go to Ferrari? To maintain that?
I think based on the support that he gets from Toto, I don't think he's going to leave Toto anytime soon.
Wow.
You know, Toto
Remember
really
Drake.
natures his drivers. Same thing he did with Lewis. Like once he has you on board, he natures you and trains you. If anything, the driver that I see who's possibly going to leave Mercedes is George, because George doesn't
But now
even
you-
have a. permanent contract with Mercedes. You know, he has
really?
a 1-year contract that ends in 2027.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's a 1-year contract that has been renewed, and even the renewal took time last year. He wasn't even. There's a moment he was hanging. By the way, he didn't know if it's going to be renewed or not. And I don't know why Toto keeps renewing it on a yearly basis. Yet Kimi has a contract till 2029. So he sees so much hope in Kimi.
Potential in Kimi.
Yeah, but I'm not so sure if he's seeing it in George. And probably George is the one who's going to move to another team. But I don't see Ferrari. I don't know, maybe Alpine?
No, George definitely will go to Red Bull Racing, and then I think
highly doubt
Lingblad will join Antonelli in Mercedes and just have young, fast drivers.
I think the young driver who I feel like has a potential to leave the team and go somewhere else is Oliver Behrman. I feel like all the top teams would want Oli.
Yes. I'd like for him to... It will be interesting if he joined Ferrari with Lewis.
Hey, you've just booted my guy. That's why I'm like that.
No. Leclerc might move to, I don't know, Mercedes. You never know. But then it will be interesting if they rode, rather drove
because he was a
together.
target before Antonelli was discovered.
Yes, he was.
Leclerc was a target for Mercedes right there. If you're just tuning in, this is the kickoff. My name is Jose and I'm joined by Hezbon Nyamari on my left as we go clockwise. We have Queen Nikki, Nicolette, and also we have Shitawa Bah, who's a multi-award winning regional marketing lead and motorsport analyst. In the next 7 minutes or so, we are going to go straight into P2. The standings right now, as we speak, George Russell leads with 51 points, followed by Kimi Antonelli, 47, and Ferrari's Charles Leclerc. Lewis Hamilton, is this his season? Queen Nikki, before we go to Shitawa, is this his season? He's done it already. He's finished in 3rd position. Can he give Ferrari that number 1 spot in one of the races? In your opinion, as a fan?
I have mixed feelings. You know me, I'm a Ferrari fan. I'm not a Lewis Hamilton fan. That's the difference,
She's a Leclerc fan.
Leclerc brought me back into Formula 1. So I don't know. Maybe he can. I think he needs to try and do that because I think his contract also runs out this season as well. If he's to get an extension.
I think it's 2028.
Yeah.